Hello, this is Sheshachalam from Astroguide Mysore. Today let us discuss about the results when Ketu is placed in the second house. So I am doing the series of all the planets, and today we have reached at Ketu in the second house from the Ascendant. So we all know that second house has a lot of karakattvas, as the first house is so important. All the 12 houses are important, but the second house in particular has peculiar karakattvas which no other house can have. Family, Kutumbasthana. Second house is Kutumbasthana, it is family. Voice, Vaksthana. The word voice has come from V-O-I-C, is K. C is K, Vaksthana. So, food, that is Annasthana. Wealth and prosperity, we see it from Dhanasthana. Earning, which will give you Sthira Asti, that is property which you can have in your life, should also be seen to a certain extent from the second house. The face is covered by the second house. The first house covers the crown of the head and the brain. So till here, then the face is covered by the second house. So most of the expressions other than the gestures, hand gestures and the body gestures, other than that, all the expressions are in the face. It's a very important house, the second house. So Ketu, a very placid, unemotional planet, when it is sitting in the second house, how actually it should manifest? Is really Ketu very placid, unemotional, or is it hiding something behind itself? Very important to understand. Usually Ketu owns the house Scorpio, which is also known as the 8th from the Karaka Kalapurusha Lagna, that is Aries. It is the 8th sign from the Aries, and it is known as secret ambition, secret desire, and all that which comes out from within, the feeling which will give you satisfaction. So that is the house which Ketu owns. So when Ketu owns such a important house, if it is sitting in the place that is the house of expression, it will hold back the expression. The person will not easily express, will hold back expression. You can check out charts with people who are having retrograde planets in the second house. They will also hold back their expression. They will not let go all their feelings at the same time. That is because Ketu usually is retrograde, very rarely is in the forward motion. If you take the elliptical elliptical orbit, Rahu and Ketu, if you take elliptical orbit, will also go into direct motion in very limited periods. But we usually calculate the mean, we make that ellipse into a circle, and then we make that into a mean, we take the mean ratio, then always Ketu and Rahu will be retrograde. So the same way, when retrograde planets are present in the second house, you can see that that particular planet's expression will be withheld by the native. So everything withheld or not, we have to understand. If there is a weak Ketu in the second house, he will not be able to express. Inability to express, inability to speak in public forum, having stammering, having difficulty in thought processing. The words will not flow easily to the voice. Voice here does not mean communication. The second house very clearly means the tone of the voice. Whether the voice is sweet, whether the voice is harsh, whether the voice is shrill, all this is to be understood from the second house. Then here, when Ketu is there, the voice will be feeble, piercing, shrill, and most of the times These people use it as a sweet voice. Their voice is very good, very humble and sweet people with Ketu in the second house. If Ketu is strong. When is Ketu weak? Ketu is weak if it is posited along with any other planet. Okay. So particularly Ketu becomes very weak when it is posited with the other weak planets like Moon and Mercury. So if Mercury and Moon are both or individually placed, singularly placed with Ketu in the second house, they give rise to difficulties. So here we should also know that whether the expression, lack of able to give expression is going to affect the person in a very big way or not. That intensity has to be calculated, because there are many medical problems, associated with non-expressive behavior. We will understand that in the medical astrology when we go to higher levels. So they are choosy eaters, finicky eaters. They are, though Ketu is positively posited or Ketu is negatively posited, that doesn't matter here. They are choosy eaters. They are very confident if it is strong, that they will tell that this is the only thing I will eat. I can't eat the other things. No, I don't want it, please. But if it is weak, they crib, they are dissatisfied with the food what they are eating. So they are finicky eaters. So finicky in the sense that they don't like that what they are eating, so they keep separating things. They don't like a particular thing put in it, so they remove it and then eat it. So they have small family, and they also recognize the small family. They are afraid of big families. They are afraid of crowd. They are afraid of mingling with too many people in the social circles. That is because of their introversion. Here, one more thing you should understand. If Ketu is malefically posited with a strong extrovert planet like Mars, these people can become very extrovert, highly extrovert. That is, they go out, all out in for protests, like very good journalists, strong writers, strong opinion, givers of opinion. They go to public forum and they can speak against somebody, make a conflict happen. So these people sometimes speak very much out of the context, and they get into the highlight of the media. So sometimes they go out of track also. So that is in Ketu in the third house, but I'll come to that later when I'm talking to you about that tomorrow. So they usually talk less. They are very sharp tongued. They are critical and sometimes sarcastic. That all depends on the associations of Ketu. Usually a simple Ketu in the second house without any affliction, these people will not bother with regard to the other person's life. So they are okay with their own life. They will not unnecessarily involve in any other's life. So they can have a cut, a scar, a fracture, eyebrow problems in the cuts where the eyebrow doesn't grow, surgeries in the face, the root canal, problem with the teeth, problem with the eyes, particularly cataracts or cornea problem or color blindness. Many things are there which can happen. So these are some of the things which happen when Ketu is in the second house. A speech defect, nose defect, sinusitis, facial features will be very sharp, depth in the eyes. If the strong Ketu or a weak Ketu, the depth in the eyes, seductive strong eyes, and sharp and long nose. Their behavior will also be the same way. They will be very pinpointed to what they want to do in their life. So breathing problems will be there. So with regard to pollution related problems and particularly problems of the pollen grains. So that's what I was thinking. So yeah, stammering will be there. That is normally seen with Ketu in the third house, second house and third house. And weak with the second lord, malefically disposed. Then if Ketu is weak and the second lord is also weak and malefically disposed, these people can face sudden losses in the dasha, bhukti or the planetary period of Ketu or the second lord. So people who are having this particular combination, they have to be little careful when they are doing the investments. So they have stage fear, I have told you, phobia related to public speaking, and things which are like this, small things which are related to public speaking. Sometimes they are very shy, they go away from the place. You cannot force them to do something. You cannot force a child with Ketu in the second house to come and sing in front of somebody. Some guest has come, you sing that very well, come and sing in front of them. She will not do it. He or she will tell no. She will be like tight-lipped, straight, standing like this. They will not do it. So wealth and prosperity, when Ketu is well posited, it gives immense wealth. But most of the times people will get disassociated or detached with all those significations and factors where Ketu is posited. So if it is in the second house, usually people will have to travel far distances away from the family and stay in hostels, stay in stay as a paying guest somewhere in the PG, or go abroad, or stay in somebody else's house to finish education. There are many combinations. Like for example, single parents will be there. Single parent working in a city will have to leave the child with her parents or his parents. So the child will have to grow without, for the early age of the life of his or her life, the infancy, he or she will have to grow without the parental guidance. So these things have to be seen. Paranna, what we call when Saturn is sitting in the second house, Paranna means eating in somebody else's house or eating somewhere else, is also associated with Ketu. Ketu usually tells you don't know who is cooking the food and you are eating it. As good as you people go to the restaurants, you don't know who is cooking there, but you eat that food. So just imagine, these things are now picking up, so it's easier to explain. If I was to explain the same concept, if I was there, I don't know, 5,000 years ago, that people go to hotels and restaurants, they sit there and eat the food which is prepared by somebody whom they do not even see, they don't know who is serving, they don't know what they are serving. Most of the times we don't know, because half of the time in the restaurant, the menu calls a name and the food served is something else. You order for a biryani, you will get a pulao. You order for, I don't use the word pulao because pulao means meat. So you get a fried rice. Let's change it to fried rice. So you order for something else, you get something else. Luckily, they don't serve you coffee when you order for tea. So the point is very simple. When we have accepted Ketu in our lives, we also have to accept those natives with Ketu characteristics in our society also. There are people who are shy. There are people who do not want to talk to others. They don't want to open up. That doesn't mean that we have to neglect them in our society and family. We need to associate them also with us, and then we have to live our life. So thank you very much for today's class. I hope I have covered a little bit of Ketu. Thank you.